Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logan, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we're going to be talking about a few of the things going around in the community, and just to touch on a few things, just to make sure you guys are kept up to date with the latest Sea of Thieves news. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. Hey patrons, you guys are awesome. I love you so much. And thank you for supporting the Keelhauled podcast. I'm going to read off your names because you deserve it, not because I have to. And I love you for that. So thank you. Bentley Beaver, Chateau Neuf, Chris Horn, Cosmic Johnson, El Jefe Esteban, Trickster, Jabaro5, Kazia the Robe, Lumpy SRQ, Dub Goose, Evil Morpheus, Xbox, Mike 29, Munchie, Regis Stella, Rust Belt Kid, TN Professor, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Super Pack, Davram TV, Fergatron, Straw Hat Connor, Windsor Chris, and Zam. Wow. Thank you again so much. If you want to become a patron, you can head over to Keelhauled Podcast and take a look at these show notes, or you can just head over to patreon.com/Keelhauled Podcast to sign up and get your name on the podcast. Join in some of the watch sessions that we have and the community episode at the end of the month for the Gold Hoarder tier. Thank you all so much. I love you. Let's get into the show.
Sunday. Welcome to the Sea of Thieves Plunder Games. That's right. All the things that you could imagine that you would want to see at a monster truck rally not happening because those aren't invented yet. It's Sea of Thieves. It's pirates. It's blowing sharks up with a keg because that's the event we have. Let the games end.
So here we are. We are playing through the Plunder Games. Pirates Life update has been amazing. It's been fantastic. It's the biggest update we've had. It's on comparison with the anniversary update with emissaries. It's the most content we've probably seen in a very long time. And I feel like I've kind of worked through it. I feel like we've all kind of worked through it. In fact, I feel like we're ready to move on to the next big thing, but unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. We are still working on trying to get through season 3. And I am really happy that we got all of the content when we did. I feel like if it had been piecemealed out to us, tall tale by tall tale by tall tale, it probably would have been a little more infuriating, although it would have been amazing as a content creator, having weekly content to talk about and stuff, instead of feeling like I've got everything and it's all front loaded, and that's how I have to go about it. But for now, it's fine. We're going to keep pushing through it. I've got a few folks coming on, hopefully for the rest of the week. I'm going to be chatting with them, but I figured now would be a good enough time to talk about the Plunder Games. How did it hit? It is an event. I'm going to treat it like a regular event that you would any other event in Sea of Thieves and talk about it. It's been something that I talked about last episode, where we kind of broke down, or actually last 2 episodes, where we've been breaking down kind of what's been going on. It is now August 8th. The Olympics have ended. We now have a full 8 days to be working on the rest of these Plunder Game different achievements. Each of them, again, worth 9,999 gold, as odd as that is. And not sure why it can't be around 10,000. It's dumb. I'm going to let go of that. I promise. I haven't really done a whole lot of these. I haven't really been playing a whole lot because if I'm being 100% honest with myself and with you, this is not a compelling enough thing for me to go do in Sea of Thieves. I'm already renowned 100. I barely hit that the other day because, like most of you should know by now, I take my plunder pass very casually because we got a bit of time to work on that. So I rounded off renowned level 100 by going through the maiden voyage. It was nice to actually do that because I haven't actually done that this season, and I like to do it once a season. And when I realized that I was on level 99 of my renown and I hadn't actually completed the maiden voyage, it seemed kind of strange. Like I had to get it in before I hit 100. But I do have the figurehead now. I've got the cosmetics. It's amazing. They're beautiful. I love them. I can't wait to see like what season 4 has in store for us. We're still about 6 to 7 weeks out from that. Actually, ironically enough, I was in the Xbox events tab because I saw a video the other day where I was like, hey, if you like events and you want to keep up on games, head over to the events tab for your Xbox, and you can see different things that are going on with the games that you want to be interested in, upcoming events. And A Pirate's Life was scheduled to end on September 16th. So if I do the math right, that should be when the next season begins, which will be right in the middle of a Ledger emissary rewards thing. It's right in the middle of that. So I don't think that the ledgers are going to swap over, which is weird. But I think that with season 4 starting in October, we will get the new rewards that should be coming as a result of the new season. So kind of plan for that. Make sure you guys are getting out there. You're checking your emissary ledgers. You're making sure that you're working on the ones that you still need the cosmetics for if you haven't already done that. I just noticed the other day I got the achievement, not the commendation, but the achievement for hitting grade 5 or the highest tier 5 times in a row. Since I'd been slacking on that since those came out, and I realized there wasn't anything outside of the achievement to tie into that. I kind of put that back on the back burner once we didn't get any new cosmetics for it. But now that we have new cosmetics, it's worth jumping in and actually working on those ledgers to make sure that I get all the new cosmetics, because I don't want to miss out on those. I don't know if they're ever coming back. Well, actually, no, I don't have to worry about that because they just stick around and you miss out and you're always behind if you don't. So with getting back to what I was talking about earlier, Plunder Games is going on. It's an event that is essentially just kind of stuff that we're used to doing. It's stuff that we saw last year with the summer games, and we did something very akin to what we're doing right now. I think last year was a little better thought. It was a little weird that it was coming around this time. We're starting to get right now into what I feel is a cadence with certain events. It feels like we're doing the thing that I wanted to do forever ago. A long time ago, I came up with the thought that we have all these Bilge Rat adventures, and they are not being reused in any way. They're not being capitalized on. This is essentially them, but instead of them bringing back the actual Bilge Rat adventure, they're bringing back aspects of some of those with a couple others, and they are using those as the kind of meat and potatoes for these more lighter events. And I'm okay with that. I can live with that. I can live with not feeling pressured to be in the game all the time working on events. It's nice to have something where I'm just kind of relaxing, or that I don't necessarily need to actually play the game. In fact, like I mentioned earlier, I was being 100% honest. I haven't been playing the game. I just finished up Jedi Fallen Order. And before you get on me, I know it's been on Game Pass a while. It's been out for even longer. I picked it up when there was an accessibility update that came out about 6 months after launch, and I dug into some of the settings. And as much as I was playing through it, I was having a good time. I was still getting into some pressure against some of the actual controls. I still think the controls for that game are really weird, but I worked on that this weekend, and I wanted to finish up that game, and I've been working on cleaning out the rest of the achievements for that so that I can put it to rest, so that when, Fallen Order or Jedi Fallen Order 2 comes out, I can see how the rest of Cal Kestis' story goes on. But this is a Sea of Thieves podcast. You probably don't care, but man, it's a really good game. Plus, I know a bunch of other people who've been jumping into other games, like Kylia from the Discord and with Destination Indie. She's been playing a lot of Manhunter, which is also on Game Pass, and aptly named considering the current situation with social media and the games industry in a whole. Wouldn't mind joining her on that. But other than that, and dealing with a whole bunch of Activision Blizzard stress, I've been kind of hanging off of Sea of Thieves lately. Haven't really had too much reason to really jump in, and mostly because I don't have folks that I'm jumping in with right now. I'm sure if somebody asked me during a time when I was available, I would probably say yes, and let's jump in. But not too many people have really bothered me to like let me know that they're ready to sail. A lot of people want to, sail with me, but it's never one of those like, hey, are you doing anything right now kind of things. So haven't really had much reason to jump into Sea of Thieves. And I don't really feel like I'm missing much, because with the plunder games, we are essentially just getting gold as a return, which is nice. It's not necessarily, the biggest thing in the world, but I'm also okay with that. So I wanted to ask the community, and thank you to everyone that replied. I'm going to be breaking these down because I wanted to get your guys' feedback on this, because it's something that feels like everyone kind of has the same feeling of it. It's a little bit of yay and nay. So I put on Twitter, Sea of Thieves plunder games, are you enjoying them? Yes or no? And leave your thoughts. 35% of the people that voted said yes, they are enjoying them. 64% said no. And some of the responses that I got in kind of felt like they were a little bit of yes and no. So CJ Super Pack said, sort of in the middle, the gold for doing fairly simple / straightforward things, yes, but the event itself feels more like a daily missions being extended. So in that respect, no. X-Ray Lex mentioned, is there any, it's an easy distraction for, and he says 10,000. I'm going to correct him and just put the 9,999 gold, because it's just that, it's that one thing that's like poking at me every time. It's like a jab in the ribs, it always, you're like, God, he says, has me doing a few things that I don't normally do. Xbox Mike 29 came on, says, done a few, mostly by accident. I've not bothered with them as I'm already renowned 100. And you might hear this from other people as well too. And I'm using this time to enjoy some other games on Game Pass while I can, which is a really good point. We still have some time between the now and the next season. I think it's a great time for you to be jumping on Game Pass, download some of the games that you haven't been playing or you've been wanting to be playing. But with Sea of Thieves being your main game, if there's nothing going on right now, it's an opportune moment for us to either stock up on cash and wait for the next dump of cosmetics to jump in so we can buy those or pick up some of the remaining ones that you haven't, or to work on commendations. That's actually the times that I have been sailing have actually been working towards specific commendations. I've been working more on some of the ones in my Athena, trying to get some cargo crates as well as some animals carted around for the Merchant Alliance. I've also been every time, I don't know if you guys have this or not, but every time I'm on my Xbox and it goes into the idle animation, it always pops up with that side menu that tells me the achievements that I'm really close to. And as I was going through them, I was really annoyed because there's a few of them that I'm really, really close to, and it's like 90%, but it's the ones where it's like complete 250 Order of Souls voyages. And I'm like, do you know how long it takes to complete those last 50 commendation or voyages, Mr. Commendation? Like, that achievement is great, but that is a lot of time to sink in for that quote unquote 90%. If we're talking just time. So I've been trying to work on those because I'm sick of my Xbox mocking me every time I go on idle. Like I'm almost to the point where I'm going to start a timer just to make sure I know when the idle is about to pop up, so I can hit the controller while I'm working on whatever else I'm working on, so that it doesn't sit there and taunt me with hey, by the way, you only have 80 miles left to sail as on an Athena voyage if you want to knock that out. And I'm like, yeah, sure, 80 miles to sail. That's not long. That's only like, I don't know, 8 hours worth of sailing. So I'm trying to work on those during this Plunder Games event, because the Plunder Games event isn't compelling enough content. Not that it has to be, but it should be interesting for some folks. A lot of folks have just been going out and doing their own thing and working on other stuff, and that's totally fine. So getting back to some of the responses for the Plunder Games, Chris Hickson, who's a patron as well, very, very supportive. I appreciate the effort and the fact that a lot of the completions will come from everyday gameplay. I won't be bothered if I don't get around to 100% finished, and I appreciate the free gold while we wait for the next big thing. It seems like a very common feature or comment from a lot of people. Evil Morpheus writes in, I voted yes because it's nice to get gold for doing things naturally in the game, but I think there should be more to keep people engaged with the game! Exclamation mark. Feels like it was thrown together last minute. And it does. It feels like it's something that they kind of, got a bulletproof, or not a bulletproof. What am I trying to say? A bullet list of the things that they know that they've got in the events. And they crashed them together, and they kit bashed this event and tacked it onto the Olympian games that are going on, or finishing up. So it's not the worst thing in the world. And I know that not everything has to be, the best event in the world. Josie Roytson says, I only voted no because it's not enough to keep me wanting to play after reaching level 100 in the season. Although it is nice to go about doing my own thing and accidentally getting 9,999 gold for stuff like blowing up skellies. I agree. Let's see. Trickster wrote in, said, most of them are already daily deeds that you do. I think they could have been a little more creative with them. I'm in 100% agreement with there. Some of these are interesting, and some of these are a little bit tough. Like I'll for example, we'll talk about one of the ones that I think is amazingly easy to do. Be swift and nimble to defeat a shark using a gunpowder barrel. I saw on Twitter the other day someone had gotten 12 barrels together and baited a shark into them in the middle of Thieves Haven and sacrificed themselves while someone else watched, which is that's a not gonna, you do you if that's what you like to watch, and decided to bait the shark in to do it that way. A lot of people have been just going about their normal day, but when you look at things like running, jumping, or swimming for loot until you have 5 chests hoarded at once, super simple, super simple. Ones that I think are tough that are actually kind of interesting. Celebrate the end of the plunder games by drinking with another crew while at an outpost. Not always the easiest to find another crew out there willing to go to an outpost with you. Because let's be honest, if World of Warcraft goblins are accurate, time is money, friend. And this is one thing where you have to convince a crew who hasn't already done it that you need to, if you want 9,999 gold, that you can go to an outpost and actually get this. So yeah, I guess the last couple that I wanted to pull in here, thanks to the Discord for giving some responses. Big Bad Pad, another community member, wrote in, says, feedback on the plunder games from a long-standing pirate. Meh. It's just a rehash of what's come before in a disguise. Don't get me wrong. For the horde of newer players, it's probably a lot of fun trying to get some of these done. It was the first round for us old sea dogs, and the 9,999 gold per event isn't to be sniffed at, but I personally haven't been looking to get them all done. If a situation has presented itself, like blowing up a shark with a keg, then it's been done, but I haven't gone out to specifically do them for the 4th or 5th time. People's Republic also responded and says, I thought it was a throwaway event for those who had played more than a cycle. Much like the real Olympics, I'm sure the attendance and ratings were extremely low, but some took joy in a few of the events. And yeah, I'm actually with you guys on this. I feel like it's a great way if you are looking to earn 9,999 gold. And if not, no big deal. You kind of move on and do your own thing. I really do hope that a lot of folks took the opportunity to kind of seek out some of those sought after commendations, some of the harder ones to get. I've been looking at the Merchant Alliance. I'll be 100% honest. I've been digging through the Merchant Alliance achievements and looking at seeing what are the most rare. Like there are a few out there. For example, Black Powder Merchant, which is the one where you have to deliver the cannonball crates, I believe, on time. I believe that one has a completion of 0.01% of the Sea of Thieves population have completed that achievement, and trying to see if I can make it a point to work on those, because I kind of like the idea of having those super rare achievements. And I'm kind of curious how everyone else's achievements look. If you were to find your most rare achievement, what is the most rare achievement, the one that has been accomplished by the fewest number of pirates out there. I think right now my best is 0.02%. And I believe that is, no, I think that is the Black Powder Merchant. I think that was the one. I think the one I was thinking about earlier was actually completing 250 Merchant Alliance voyages. And I think that one was the one that was 0.01% completion. So definitely a lot of people don't like doing Merchant Alliance. So I think if you're going to do anything for these plunder games, forget the plunder games. Don't worry about those. Find a commendation or an achievement that is really well or hard to do. Something that only a true athlete would be able to, a top tier athlete would be able to accomplish, and work on that during the next 8 days. And let's see if we can get some of those percentages a little bit higher, because looking at the achievements and the completion rates, 75% of people have been able to go out on a ship and sail. You couldn't hear that clapping. It was the softest clapping I could possibly muster for that. It is the easiest thing to do next to chomping on a banana. So let's try and get some of those really hard commendations and achievements knocked out. You know, maybe you don't have your gold curse. What a great way to celebrate the Olympics than getting the gold curse, the gold medal curse from the original Tall Tales. Go out and knock them all out. You got to complete them all 5 times in a row. You got to collect all of the journals, and there are a lot of journals, but you do get a lot of commendations knocked out. You get a lot of cosmetics rewarded for doing all of those, and it's a really, it's a sought after curse for a lot of people, much like the Pirate Legend curse that was in the Plunder Pass a couple seasons ago, or last season. I believe it was last season. Just a quick note on that. I did hear from Rare that they are still working on when they want to bring back some of those plunder bass. Maybe that's a thing we need to have. Maybe we need to have a plunder pass that's dedicated just to bass. I guess we would need bass in the game first. Or maybe bass. Maybe there should be a plunder game just dedicated to music. I don't know. Dumb thoughts. But anyway, the plunder pass cosmetics are being looked at. The original ones that came in the first and second season, they are looking to work in when they want to bring those to the game for the folks that missed out on them. And also I did hear that the charity event for the Twycross Zoo went well, and they're hopefully going to get the numbers for how much was raised for that charity soon. TM. So hopefully that'll be a good thing. Lots of things that are coming up on the horizon that I wanted to let you guys know about. Before I do that, I'm going to take a quick drink and we're going to jump into the next topic. All right, pirates, we're back, and I wanted to give you guys some heads up on things that you might have missed over from Sea of Thieves. They've been tweeting a lot lately, and I wanted to give you a heads up on some of the things in case you wanted them. You never know. It's a weird time right now. Maybe you want a Sea of Thieves dad hat with a little Blue Horizon logo on a baseball cap. I don't know. Maybe that's your thing. If that's your thing, I am not going to tell you that it can't be your thing, because it actually can. They're selling that. That's a thing that they're selling. So if you haven't seen, Rare is actually putting out a new seasonal collection based on the Blue Horizon set that is actually the set that's in the Plunder Pass right now for season 3. You've probably seen it. It's very colorful. I actually really like it. I think they've done a great job with it. And they're taking the galleon amongst, well, actually, I don't know if it's a galleon. It might be a brigantine. It's really hard to tell, but it's 2 mainsails, and it doesn't look like there's anything else to indicate that it could be a brig, could be a galleon. Who knows? Maybe they can tell me. And it is sailing into the horizon, the Blue Horizon. There's a couple seagulls on some of it, and they've got some shirts out there and a mug and a dad hat for reasons if people wanted those. So I honestly think that you should probably be shooting for the Mark of the Ocean Deep stuff that came out last season, which has actually got 2 cross tridents with a skull in the middle of it. I think that actually looks a lot better, if I'm being honest. But they also have the seasonal collection for the Shroud Breaker. So if you're a fan of the Shroud Breaker, they've got some the actual Shroud Breaker emblem. The one that if you look at the tall tale, it actually has the full little idol looking relic. That symbol is available on some clothing as well too. So head on over to raregames.store/seasonal-collection. I'm going to put the link in the show notes if you want to take a look at what I'm talking about. And it does say that you can get free deliveries for anything to the UK or the US for orders over £50 or $50, which at this point is probably going to have to be a couple sweaters or a few t-shirts, or most of the stuff is, we're looking at $18 per t-shirt, hat. The sweaters are generally about $35 and the mugs are about $10. So you have to get a lot of mugs if you wanted to get these shipped for free. So do expect a little shipping with that. The other thing that I want to let you know about, Sea of Thieves has the Prime Gaming content that is out now. You can get the Ruby Splashtail Hull Pack, which I really don't know that we need to be doing the Ruby Splashtail stuff. I get that it's free for those that have Amazon Prime, and it's great that we're getting a little bit off of the back of Bezos. Make sure that you're using those Twitch Primes subscriptions on your favorite streamer. But yeah, oh man, they're the Ruby Splashtail, horrendous. But you do get the knife trick emote, which is actually one of the better emotes, and I hate myself for saying this. I've come around on emotes, and they finally put out emotes that I really love. I've been buying them all now, and I hate myself for it because I said this was a terrible idea forever ago when they first started doing them. I said they should focus more on cosmetics and not worry about emotes. We have a ton of emotes already, and they added more wheels, and now I have a lot of them, and I don't know why, but that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna be holding off on buying any more if they start sticking them into this Prime Gaming thing. Just a heads up, this is something that's actually been going on for a while, and we actually still have quite a few of these Prime things going on for a bit now. So the next Twitch drops, we don't know because they've been off. Ever since the DDoS that happened back in May, it's completely thrown off the schedule. So the timing for these things that I had in the past is no longer in the works. Like, it doesn't even make sense because these were available on August 2nd. Now, I don't know. These could have been the July 26th patch ones. These could have been the July 28th. I don't know anymore when these are supposed to be actually coming out. Because originally we were supposed to have June 14th, June 28th, July 12th, July 26th, August 9th, which is technically tomorrow as the time of recording this, and then August 23rd, September 6th, and September 20th. So I have no idea if this is if we're going to be getting more of these in the future, like how many more. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll do you the favor. I'm going to take a quick look and see if I can find out when the next one is or how many in we've got, because we've got quite a bit. Right. Oh god, the Ruby Splashtail stuff is horrendous. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now 8, which means that we now have 1, 2, 3, 4 drops left. So there's 4 drops left coming to the Twitch Gaming, which means that would be August 9th, which is probably not going to happen. It's probably going to get pushed out. August 23rd, September 6th, and September 20th. So if I had to guess, I would say that we're probably going to get the next 4 up until the beginning of October, since this has kind of been pushed out because of those DDoS attacks. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're heading over to Twitch Gaming. If you have Amazon Prime, take a look at the rewards. Make sure you're heading over to the Prime Gaming website, get yourself logged in, make sure your Sea of Thieves account is locked in as well, so you get all the stuff, and you too can earn some really hideous, absolutely hideous cosmetics with a couple good emotes. So that's all I've got for that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up that I wanted to make sure you all were aware of, again, we do have the Twitch drops coming soon. Those are starting, I believe, next weekend. I think that's next weekend. And we're getting, no, I'm sorry. That was something else. There's actually something going on with the Sea of Thieves drops. And they were just celebrating, where was it? They're just celebrating 250,000 Discord members on the Sea of Thieves Discord. and they were talking about some live events that are coming that I'm trying to find. So, nope, those are already gone. I have no clue. What? My brain. I hate myself sometimes. I really do. But there are more Twitch drops coming. I will probably let you know about those, or just listen to last week's episode when I mentioned what the actual dates were, and I actually remembered what they were, unlike right now, because I'm an idiot. Last thing I wanted to touch on is the Sea of Thieves shot contest. This one, again, is ending on August 11th. If you're listening to this as of recording, you've only got a couple more days to be able to try and get those golden hour sales. I have not been participating in these as much as I should. I just, for whatever reason, I just can't seem to get the shot that I want. I can't come up with a good idea for some of these. And I've been waiting for one where I'm just like, you snap my fingers, slap my knee, raise my hand up to the sky and says, I got it. I know what I want for this one. I know what I want. And I go out and get that photo and actually submit it. Hopefully in the attempt to actually win it. I don't know that I'll actually win it, but that's okay. Ahoy there, pirates. This is the ad for this episode, and I did want to let you know if you wanted to avoid these and just get a regular filler, you can head over to the Patreon. There's a special feed just for patrons that get the ad-free version. If you want to keep listening, though, I can't say I blame you, because this week I want to let you know about Loot Crate and getting 15% off of most crates and crate subscriptions when you use the link and code RobotsRadio in the show notes. Also, you can head over to audiobooks.com, get your first 3 audiobooks for free, and that can include any 2 VIP books, or use the affiliate link for Green Man Gaming. If you're a PC gamer or you'd like to save money on games, it's one of the benefits of being a PC gamer. Head over to Green Man Gaming. You can get codes for Steam, Epic, any of the different stores that they have deals going on. They have deals going on all the time, and if you plan on buying there, please consider using our affiliate link. All of that goes straight to me through the network. Thank you all so much for everything that you do to support this podcast. It means the world to me, and I continue to try and improve the quality and content for you. With that, pirates, let's get back to the show. Next thing on today's docket, I wanted to bring up something that hasn't been brought up in over a year and a half, and that is because I'm really excited to see it happening again. And that is the roaming Meg. And you may be wondering if I'm talking about a Megalodon in Sea of Thieves. I'm not. I'm actually talking about a specially commissioned Twisted Princess plushie Megalodon. And you may be wondering, what am I talking about? A Megalodon, a plushie Megalodon? That isn't a thing. It is totally a thing. It was talked about with Dread Pirate Doug. It has been mentioned in the past. And if you've been listening, you definitely know what I'm talking about. But there are adorable, absolutely adorable Twisted Princess Megalodon plushies available on Etsy. If you want to know, I'll see if I can find a quick link for them to throw in the show notes. But there was a specially commissioned one that has the rare logo on its dorsal fin. I don't know if it's actually called a dorsal fin for them or not. I'm pretty sure it is. But the roaming Meg is back. Things have lightened up enough in America that some people who are vaccinated, who are trusting themselves and not having to worry about other, coconut fevers and stuff like that, are out there with the roaming Meg. And this time it was the crew of outlaw streamers that had a meetup at the beginning of August. And it's awesome. It was so great to see so many people getting together to celebrate Sea of Thieves, to have fun, getting together and actually doing something for a good cause. And they actually went out and raised $2,700 for Stack Up the other day, to have just a huge shout out for them raising money. It was coordinated from Woodrow Jenkins, who, if you don't know, is a really, really good Sea of Thieves community member. They've been out there streaming full time for a while. He's got a fantastic beard and really nice hair. Very jealous of that. But he's been out there streaming Sea of Thieves for a long time, and the members, I can't say the name of the coalition, but the coalition that they have all got together. They all used the opportunity to sign the sign up sheet, where actually it's a sign in book for those that were actually there. And it was really nice to see a whole bunch of them. It looks like there was probably at least more than a dozen, 2 dozen people all together hanging out, sharing some love for Sea of Thieves. And I can't wait to see where it's going next. I know that there's some stickers going out to the participants. So if you want to know more, head over to Twitter and look for /Meg Roaming. I will have a link in the show notes for that as well. And that way you can see if the Megalodon is going to be coming in your area. You can actually follow the Roaming Meg hashtag on Twitter to see if there's photos of people sharing, and maybe it's something that you actually want to do. Maybe you want to host an event where you can actually have the Megalodon visit your town and be the host for it. Have people come hang out if it's safe, make sure everything's okay. Make sure you're out there being safe and whatnot, and share some love for Sea of Thieves with the Roaming Meg. Get some photos and then share those photos with the rest of the community. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going. It's great to see that things are getting in a situation where they are going to be moving, or the Roaming Meg is going to be roaming once again. She's been hanging out in one place for so long. It was kind of scary to think that it was just never going to happen, because I think there's a really good plan for the Roaming Meg at one point, and I can't wait for that to happen. I can't wait to actually see like the end result of this. I kind of know what it is. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm really excited to see the end state for this Roaming Meg. So I'm gonna leave notes in the links in the show notes for you if you want to jump on that. If you want to be part of this different community event, it's very isolated in the sense that we want to make sure everyone's being safe. So definitely make sure you're getting in touch with the Roaming Meg Twitter account to see if it's okay, to see what's going on, and to see if you're in the right area for this to actually happen. All right, so a couple quick things that I wanted to bring up. It looks like this episode's going to be a little bit shorter because I'm still in the planning phases for a project that I'm working on for the podcast. I've got a guest that I'm locked in for next week's episode, which I believe is going to be Falcor, who's going to be joining me for next episode. And on top of that, we're actually going to be doing the Sea of Thieves Keelhauled community movie watch along. I believe that is going to be on August 14th on 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we're going to be watching the 5th and final Pirates of the Caribbean film together. That's going to be something that is done in the Discord. If you want to know how to join up, head over to the show notes. You'll see links for that, and you can join in during that time or the respective time zone that you're in to hang out, watch the film, comment, enjoy it. Some folks probably haven't seen it. Some folks definitely have. And I'm sure everyone's got some thoughts on there, but we want to kind of get together and just spend some time with each other. I think after this, we're going to be swapping over to a patron exclusive because I can actually relegate the age limit for that, and doing some Black Sails watch through. I think we're going to do that. Maybe pick up some other piratey films. If you guys have an idea of some pirate films that you'd want to stream in the Discord to kind of share with everyone else, we may be doing some stuff like that, like Hook or Muppet Treasure Island, things like that, to kind of keep this going, because it's been nice watching the Pirates of the Caribbean films, especially considering this started back in May, when we didn't know at the time that they were going to be bringing A Pirate's Life to the game. So it was just kind of fun. It was a fun thing that I kicked up, and I thought it'd be great to sit down and watch the films with the community and just have some fun, since we can't really, go to a movie theater and do it all in person, given how everyone's across the world. And this was just a really fun way to do it. So we're going to be finishing up I don't know what a number of 5 films, the series. We're going to be finishing up the series with the 5th film, and that is going to be on August 14th. Again, pending any changes to our schedule, I'm going to have Falcor on the next episode. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, bouts that you want to have with him, let me know in the feedback and questions section for the actual Discord server. Head over to the Keelhauled Discord server. Let me know what questions you have for Falcor for that episode, so I can have those for when we actually sit down to record. Hey friends, just wanted to give you a heads up. This next little bit of audio, for whatever reason, got a little out of sync, and when I tried to convert it into a mono sample, it really distorted it. So I apologize if it sounds a little weird, like you're kind of hearing double on both sides. Hopefully this doesn't come out too bad when you're listening to it, but I wanted to give you a heads up as to what was going on. But let's get into the next segment. After this segment is done, about halfway through, it kicks back over and it's back in sync. I don't know what happened, so sorry about that. Next up on today's docket, I put over on the Patreon an open public poll to talk about some of the different characters in Sea of Thieves as I dive deeper and deeper into the lore for each of the different actual characters. I put up 4 options this week, and I wanted to give players an opportunity to pick and choose which ones they wanted. Didn't matter if you're an actual patron or not, as long as you had an account, you could actually vote on this. So it was between Lorena, Wrathbone, Umbra, and Pendragon. And Pendragon won by 1 vote, including all of the people that talked to me prior. So I wanted to sit down and talk about Sir Arthur Pendragon, who, believe it or not, is actually junior, much like some other characters in Sea of Thieves. So Sir Arthur Pendragon. Now, if you don't know who he is, spoiler warnings for this, because I'm going to be diving into stuff that is in the Tall Tales, as well as the comics that were revealed to us earlier this year. So if you don't want to be spoiled on Seabound Soul or Heart of Fire, now would be a good time to queue out, check over to the show notes for any of the links that I mentioned. Otherwise, this is just going to be a quick little dive into who Sir Arthur Pendragon is. And next week, we'll take some of the characters that didn't get picked and add in a new one and see who wins on the next little bout. I don't know that I'm going to be doing these each week, but I figured since there was a little bit less time to devote to actual Sea of Thieves news, now would be a good time to start kind of diving into some of the different characters that are actually in Sea of Thieves that have some history behind them, much like I did with Molly in the last episode. So, who is Sir Arthur Pendragon? Well, he says, "Allow me to introduce myself. Sir Arthur Pendragon at your service, captain of the Blackwyche, though I'm afraid she and I have seen better days." This is from the Seabound Soul. So Sir Arthur Pendragon is the captain of the Blackwyche. If you've been over to Shipwreck Bay, you'll have noticed that the giant wreck that is over there is actually the Blackwyche, which, if you don't know, is a reference to an earlier game created by the company that would become Rare limited production. So Sir Arthur Pendragon was the main character in the 1985 action adventure game Blackwyche, developed and published by Ultimate Play, the game, a British game developer company that would evolve into Rare. The game follows the aristocrat adventurer Sir Arthur Pendragon, who is trapped on the haunted Blackwyche and must fight off skeletons while attempting to free the soul of its former captain, Richard Cavendish, which is actually the name of the person who coincides with the comics. If you got a chance to pick up the free comics through Comixology for Sea of Thieves Origins, for Sir Arthur Pendragon, he actually goes out and actually seeks the Blackwyche as an adventurer, finds Cavendish, and treats with him to not only free his soul and send him on his way, but to take over the Blackwyche and to head to the Sea of Thieves so that Pendragon can continue on his adventures. To dive into a little bit of the background, according to his journal, Pendragon was once a prince of an unknown kingdom. We found out that through the Origins comic that he is a junior, that his father was Sir Arthur Pendragon, and I do believe that the game that was published back in 1985 does in fact follow Sir Arthur Pendragon Jr., which many of you probably have already put these 2 and 2 together. Arthur Pendragon is the name of King Arthur, who is of the myth for the legendary Sword of Excalibur. So that's kind of the whole Sword in the Stone thing, which is nice that he kind of has this champion's title given to him by Madame Olivia from the Order of Souls. She has a sword of souls that she bequeaths to him so that he can help release trapped souls that are in some of the relics and objects out into the world, namely skulls and captains that have been trapped that need to be sent to the ferry to meet up with the ferryman. In this time, Arthur Pendragon does end up going to the ferryman. He visits him as a result of being trapped underwater and drowning. And when he meets the ferryman, he's kind of realizes that he's going to get sent back. And he kind of works out a deal with the ferryman. He says, you know, I'll go back, but my purpose isn't done. And the ferryman says, well, you can help me out because there are souls that have not passed through here that are trapped in the Sea of Thieves, and I can't leave the helm of this ship. So I need someone in the Sea of Thieves to help bring back these souls so that I can send them on their way to their next place. And Pendragon agrees to this and is then sent back to the Sea of the Thieves, or to the Sea of Thieves from the Sea of the Damned, to continue his quest to free trapped souls. This is where things get kind of sketchy because as Pendragon is going about his life in the Sea of Thieves, he comes across Captain Greymorrow, who we've had encounters with, and the ghost of Greymorrow is present at the Fort of the Damned when you invoke his summoning with the ritual skull and the flames of fate from the Ferry of the Damned. Greymorrow has the ability to seal souls into objects. During the last festival event in October of 2020, we ventured around to the seas and found out that it was Greymorrow that learned the ability to trap souls into objects, and a lot of the Bildrets that were out seeking adventure ended up running into Greymorrow, who then sealed their souls in these skeletons and never had an opportunity to meet with the ferryman to return. So Greymorrow seals Pendragon's soul in the painting of Pendragon on his ship in the captain's cabin of the Blackwyche. So if you venture over to the shipwreck bay and you're looking to actually work on the seabound soul, you will come across the painting that he is trapped in. And thanks to the help of Stitcher Jim, we'll just say Stitcher Jim, his soul is freed from that, and he's still lingering there, now trapped in Sea of Thieves. The Seabound Soul has players finding Pendragon, now released from the cursed painting of his likeness in the captain's quarters, and with his ritual sword is now being tasked with freeing the souls of 3 captains. And you're able to find these captains after exhuming the coffin of the ferryman and taking the enchanted lantern from his coffin and going about the world to discover the fate of different souls that are still trapped in the Sea of Thieves. So Pendragon offers the players the chance to retrace the steps and release the souls of 3 other cursed captains. The Tall Tale sees player crews going out and doing just that. The first of the 3 is actually Captain Martha. So Captain Martha is seeking after, and there's not too much to do with Captain Martha Jane, but she is seeking the Ashen Dragon because apparently there's something of high value on this ship. And it isn't until she actually meets up with Randall the Vandal, or Captain Randall Stone, that she comes into the situation where she joins up in an alliance with him to continue hunting down the ship called the Ashen Dragon. It's at this point they have no clue what this ship means to the rest of the world, and we find out alongside them that this ship is actually captained by the damned, by Ashen Lords, who are carrying the tomb or the coffin of Captain Flameheart Sr. So as they are approaching the Ashen Dragon is wreathed in flames. It is clear that they are captained by the dead, and Randall Stone leaves them. He turns about, he runs away, and it is just up to Captain Martha Jane to try and take out this Ashen Dragon. However, her attempts are met in vain. She is quickly scuttled and killed, and her soul is trapped in her skull. You find the skull and take it to Arthur Pendragon. It's at that point that he releases the skull, and Martha Jane then tells the story, her soul floating in air before eventually heading back to the Ferry of the Damned, that a ship of the damned wreathed in hellfire, what impossible treasure must it contain? My crew and I sought to know the truth. For 6 nights we sailed in pursuit of the Ashen Dragon. Countless times we thought we had lost the scent, only to spot her ominous flames on the horizon. On the third night, we encountered Captain Stone and his crew, who also meant to hoard the fire ship's secrets for themselves. Grudgingly, they accepted our offer of an alliance. Finally, we saw our chance and struck. It was the last mistake of our lives. Our lust for wealth had blinded us to the true nature of our prey, skeletal pirates, who burned as though the flames of Hades were consuming them before our eyes. Upon witnessing the horrors we now faced, Stone and his crew turned tail and ran. Our plans were in ruins even before the Ashen Dragon turned and unleashed its cannons upon us. We were boarded in great numbers as our hull was shattered by cannon fire. There was no time for repair nor for escape as our world broke apart around us. My last hope is that Stone's cowardice may in some way return to haunt him. I shall carry that hope with me as we sink into our graves. Pendragon replies, "It seems this mysterious Captain Stone is our key to hunting the Ashen Dragon. I'll preserve Jane's memories in my journal. They might give us a clue as to where we should head next." At this point, we are now using the enchanted lantern to track down Randall Stone's ship to find out what happened to the crew. Once we find the remains of the ship and the skull buried in the sand, we return to Pendragon to bring his stone to release his soul. Pendragon states, "Bravo! Another trapped soul rescued from purgatory's clutches. Allow my blade to do the honors." And as he releases the soul with his Sword of Souls, Randall Stone's voice can be heard and says, Yeah, I heard what you was calling me, Jane. Randall the Vandal ain't no coward, you savvy, but he ain't stupid neither. That fight was a lost cause and we both knew it. My ship may have been scuttled and me crews sent to the ferry, but I knew where the Ashen Dragon was heading next and where I could lie in wait. Those red-hot skellies ain't half strong, though, and I got in a few good shots, but he just kept coming. I had to run or I'd have been burned to cinders. Shame I didn't run faster. Maybe it's for the best, though. I know the truth about that ship. I know who's aboard her, and I know you'd have to fight through hell to reach him. Pendragon responds to this and says, "Only one captain left to find. I'll add Stone's information to my journal so we can learn where the Ashen Dragon was heading. We've come too far to lose her now." We find the ancient skull, which is in a coffin in the middle of the Devil's Roar on an island that really should have been left alone for a long time. And Pendragon says, "Whoever this soul maybe the Ashen Dragon went to great lengths to hide them away. Stand back and I'll release them from their prison." This is when we find out that Flameheart's soul has been released. So thanks, Pendragon. He was tricked. It was Stitcher Jim who released him. It was our naivety that helped him find this skull, and it is pretty much ours and Pendragon's foolish faults of trying to do good that ended up releasing Captain Flameheart onto the Sea of Thieves. So if you're complaining about why Flameheart is in the Sea of Thieves, just remember it was our fault to begin with. There's not too much else that really is kind of about Pendragon. There's a few entries in the journals. The Blackwyche is mine, bequeathed to me by her former captain, whose soul I saved for its eternal torment, a fine reward if I am any judge. I shall sail her from the Dragon Skull Isle and set a course for the Sea of Thieves. Grand adventures await me there, I have no doubt, and I wish to meet them head on. Next entry is number 17. Of all those I have encountered on my travels, few understand me better than the Order of Souls. They command my respect, and I have learned many of their arcane secrets. Today, Olivia surprised me with a gift, a Sword of Souls, she called it. The touch of its blade can free any spirit from the bones that bind it. It seems I am to be the Order's champion of a sort. Moves on. Entry number 23. My new sword makes dealing with chattering cadavers mere child's play. Already I desire a greater challenge. That is why I am sailing in pursuit of the creature known as Grey Morrow, a fearsome skeleton lord. Rumor has it he too has an interest in Order's secrets. He shall experience them firsthand as my blade splits his spirit from what remains of his cursed body. And then the last entry doesn't have a number and seems to be the last. Eternity, an infinity of moments cursed in canvas, or so it felt. Was I trapped for days? Years? I have no way to tell. It was the price I paid for my hubris. To be captured by Grey Morrow, forced to explain the binding ritual, only to then become its next victim. The shame I feel is indescribable, as is being trapped in this phantom-like state. I must atone. I will atone. The kindly stranger who freed me spoke of others whose spirits, like mine, have been trapped, imprisoned in their own decaying remnants. My lantern will guide me to them if I still had substance enough to carry it. While I consider my options, I shall make note of all the stranger told me. I must not fail those poor wretches as I failed myself. So there's a lot to be said about what part Sir Arthur Pendragon has played in the Sea of Thieves. He has essentially been the catalyst for Flameheart and what is to become of that in the future. It was great to have him come from the history of Rare and be brought into the Sea of Thieves in a very canonical fashion. I absolutely really love that about this character. He's really interesting as someone who is so very much like a chaotic good type character to me, with the limited understanding of D&D that I understand. He will do whatever he thinks is good, even if he doesn't question the comments or the suggestions of others. He's constantly trying to find a way to do the right thing, even if it means not heeding the warning of others or looking for red flags. He did end up getting the Blackwyche from Cavendish. He sailed it to the Sea of Thieves and eventually met his Cavendish's daughter in one of the taverns and had her join up with the crew. And she was actually killed by Stitcher Jim along with the rest of the crew, something that Stitcher Jim boasts about in the Heart of Fire. He talks in the journals about how easy it was to take out the rest of the Blackwyche crew and then seal their souls in the chests of rage, if I recall correctly. So I am curious to see where Pendragon goes from here. He is seen on the Tavern of the Damned in the Captains of the Damned tall tale for A Pirate's Life. Jack Sparrow is in the Tavern of the Damned, and he is boasting about something that he's doing in there. And George and Rose, as well as I believe Stone is in there. Oh, I'm blanking. It doesn't matter. He comes into the tavern and basically calls out Jack Sparrow for being a coward and telling him that if he was a real pirate, he'd get out there and finish what he started and not let Davy Jones get away with that special treasure. He's then later seen in the Lords of the Sea tall tale, where Pendragon is sailing the Blackwyche and helping with the downfall of the ghost fleet that Davy Jones has resurrected, and eventually helping us defeat Davy Jones. For now, we don't actually know if Davy Jones will ever get out of the Ferry of the Damned. He is currently trapped below deck of the Ferry of the Damned, and the ferryman is keeping him there for the time being. I would assume that in the interim, Pendragon is waiting for the opportune time to come back to help us seal a soul. I think he's going to do the thing that is against what he has been doing this whole time. I think he's actually going to help us seal away the soul of someone in particular who I think a lot of people are upset with, and hopefully will draw out Stitcher Jim, so that at some point we can see if Stitcher Jim has actually become a Ashen Lord the way I think he has. And if that's the case, we will need to have Pendragon's help with getting rid of Stitcher Jim's soul at that point. I think it's going to be incumbent upon us to defeat Stitcher Jim as an Ashen Lord. It'll be a really beautiful fight. And as Pendragon was freed from his canvas, I believe that Stitcher Jim will be sealed away in some sort of object so that he cannot do any harm, and or be sent to the Ferry of the Damned or the Sea of the Damned, where he can be watched over by the ferryman. It's unclear why in the journal Pendragon states that the enchanted lantern is his when it is something that we exhumed from the corpse of the ferryman atop Kraken's Fall. I would love to understand their partnership more. I would love even more to understand the ferryman and who he is, how he died, and how Ramsay knows him so well, and why it was with Ramsay's help that he decided to become the ferryman and take on that burden to help bring pirates back from the dead to the Sea of Thieves, where we are all immortal. That's it as far as information goes for Pendragon. I'll be putting up a new poll shortly so that we can dive into some other characters. If there's a character that you've been wanting to learn more about, or to have me kind of compartmentalize their history in an episode, let me know. I would love to get some more suggestions from you, since it's something you guys want to actually jump into. I'm really glad that Pendragon was picked first because I actually really like this character, but I am looking forward to seeing what other characters are picked or in the future, since I'm kind of doing it by committee at this point. I want to see how everyone feels and what's the more popular character, and then go from there. Last item on today's docket, First Mate's Log, coming in from TN Professor. Schlugenda, El Jefe Esteban, Grengar, and I loaded a galleon that Schlug had started and headed toward an active Fort of the Damned. When we got close enough, we spied 2 sloops through the eyeglass, and the cloud went down. We had the wind and blasted it at full speed. The 2 of us jumped off and got to the first sloop, using their cannons to fire point blank into the second as Schlug and Jefe managed the galleon. The 2 sloops sank quickly, and the fort was ours, but there was something odd. The fort was active again. The 2 crews had started the event again, stacking the loot in the fort before starting again. As we engaged the event, we saw the sloops coming back into the Fort of the Damned, so we disengaged and met them, sinking them again. This time we heard one of their crew tell us, "We have all night. You'll regret this." To which I responded, "It's a weekend. We've been looking for a fight. Bring it." We worked the Fort of the Damned in their return over and over, each time having a good fight. The Fort of the Damned fell, but the enemy had the key until one of them taunted Grengar and Jefe with it just after killing Grengar. Jefe ran his sword through him and took the key and jumped to our boat. Now, it was a chase between a galleon and 2 salty sloops. We were low on cannonballs, so we strategically fell back, gathering supplies as we made our way to the shores of gold. I jumped overboard as we sailed into the Red Sea and attempted a conversation with the 2 sloops. I found out that they had 3 Fort of the Damned stacked in the vault and now pleaded for the key. I said, "We're all pirates here. Even if we came to an agreement, we would all likely betray each other at the end." The leader said, "Fair point. Most of the treasure has timed out now, and it's only the current loot there now. Come out and give a chance." After some debate, our crew decided to place the key on an active Skelly fleet and fight it out. The sloop raced in to find us and take the key again. It was at this point a well-placed firebomb sailed through the air and landed on their boat. It immediately blew up, and I heard, "You had to use a firebomb when we had 2 kegs on board." They tried once more to get us after we loaded the Fort of the Damned loot aboard and lost again before we sold it all. The gold per minute wasn't strong, but the story was. It sounded like a great adventure, something that probably lasted well into the 2 to 3 hour mark, which, if you ask me, is kind of par for the course for most forts. I can't believe that they actually weren't paying attention to their ships, though. It's really surprising to me when crews get so confident that they can handle anything that they're willing to stack more than 1 Fort of the Damned on in the actual fort. Why not just actually bring most of it down to your ship? Load up your ship, or at least put it all in one spot, and then use the kegs from that fort on the next for summoning, but to do 2 in a row and lose out on all of that, and only to try and keep coming after it. Kudos to the Salty Slopes for continuing to come back. I think most people, after losing that much treasure, would probably give up, and not too many pirates go after that kind of thing again. And shout out to the crew, Professor, Schlug, Hefe, and Grengar for sticking it out on the galleon, doing a great job. It sounds like you really used all of your faculties to outsail, outfight, and take out 2 sloops who probably were on the same page as far as numbers go. And really just amazing story. Thank you for sharing it. If you have a great story like that and want to share it with the community through the podcast, I always welcome the stories in the First Mates log. There's a channel dedicated for that in the Keelhauled Discord. You've been hearing me talk a lot about the Discord tonight. It's not on purpose. There's not much news to really cover. So I'm using the community to help kind of talk about some of the fun stuff that's going on, because at this point, it's kind of the community stories that keep the game going. It's what these adventures bring to the table that really give people an opportunity to have fun, to have those memories, to have those moments. And I really love it when you do get these really awesome stories. So kudos to you, crew, for sticking with it, for fending them off for so long as you did, and managing to get all of the loot from it as well. Pirates, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully the little bit longer episode makes up for last week. There still isn't a whole lot of information to cover, but I did find some stuff to talk about. Next week, again, we're hopefully having, pending schedule changes. Not Flameheart. Oh my gosh. Falcor, both F names. Sorry. Captain Falcor is going to be joining me. So make sure you give me your questions, comments, concerns, all of them that I can share with him as we jump into next week's episode. If you have any questions, comments, concerns not pertaining to Flameheart, or not Flameheart. Oh my gosh, I did it again. To Falcor, let me know in the Discord, or hit me up on Twitter at CAPT_LOGUN. I just rolled over 1,700 followers on that, so thank you so much for following me. I had a lot of people follow the podcast as well for the Pirate's Life. It's been great for the podcast. It's been great for the game. I'm hoping that a lot of those new people are learning to play the game and kind of going back and listening to older episodes to find out some of the history of the game as well too. If you have any stories that you want to share but you don't want to be on Discord to do it, you can always email me as well too. You can always email me your questions, your stories, things like that, things that you saw that were cool. Send those over to the podcast email, which is captlogan@gmail.com. That's LOGUN, not LOGAN. It's weird that way. Sorry. And Pirates, with that, I think that's going to do it. So thank you. I love you. And I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Looking for a Fallout audio drama? It's True Vault Escapades! That's right, follow the death-defying adventures of Detective Walter Camry and his Vault Girl Bunny as they solve the Wasteland's biggest mysteries. From the dramatic Texas prologue to the high-stakes world of New Vegas, Walter and Bunny risk it all to crack everything from murders, slaver syndicates, and corruption at the highest level in post-nuclear America. True Vault Escapades. It's a Fallout show with a detective twist. Look for True Vault Escapades wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Pylon.
And I'm Doc.
And if you've ever played an Elder Scrolls game, you've probably used UESP.net to help you find information about a quest, dive deeper into lore, or really learn anything about the Elder Scrolls.
But did you know we have a podcast too? Every week we bring you the latest in Elder Scrolls news, dig deeper into topics surrounding the game, and have a ton of fun while doing it.
You can find us on your favorite podcatcher by searching the unofficial Elder Scrolls podcast. Can't wait to see you all there.